Hi, it's John from North Star Nursery, Garden and Home, your coastal gardener. I wanted to go over something that I've been using at my house in my vegetable garden, and those are Ollas. People don't always understand. It's an interesting pronunciation. It's spelled Ollas. These are terracotta vessels that you bury in the ground. These have been around for millennia. So people have been using these in arid environments to grow plants because the transpiration of moisture doesn't exist because you're not overhead watering, sorry. So I'm going to show you today on a little smaller scale how to use the Ollas and also how to kind of plant out. We're going to do a lettuce slash marigold bed. So I have put in about half the soil that I need in the container. Now it's tilted, so it might be a little bit challenging for me to do it in a pretty way. But what I wanted to show you is that the top of the Olla is resting, like if you put a piece of wood, it would go straight across the top and rest right on that and right on the edge of the planter. The reason we want that is we want as much of this vessel to be in the ground. Usually I have about 2 inches or so where it's above. And the reason I do that is because if I want to add soil next year to refresh, specifically the fir mulch, because that's part of our soil refurbishing recipe. Say that 10 times fast. So we get that settled in. Once we've done that, we start to fill in with more soil. Sorry. When you're doing that, you want to make sure the lid on that is covered because you do not want to get any dirt in there. Boy. All right. Not bad, actually, for being sideways or almost sideways. So one of the steps that oh Lord, I'm gonna have to open this up. We always use Sure Start when we plant. And so for a container this size, I would use 2 handfuls. On my soil recipe, I call for 3 cups of Sure Start for a 4x4 bed. And so we do that and we mix it in just into the top. This is all new soil. This is the Green All Organic. So it has a lot of nutrients already in it. So we're kind of set for the season ahead, but I always use Sure Start because of the mycorrhiza that's available in the fertilizer that helps the plants to actually pull up nutrients much better. So we have our little situation here. Now what I'm going to do is kind of go through and put in the actual lettuces and marigolds. Now, when you're doing a container, you want to consider the fact that this space outside of the container is actually really helpful. So you can plant a plant closer to the edge and it will occupy half of that space outside of the container, which allows you to get more in the container. So consider that. You might think that I'm getting things a little bit close, but we are going to kind of pack it in there. We are using red sales lettuce and romaine lettuce. And I also will put a little bit of Sure Start in each of the holes that I do. So I'm going to make a little, which again might be difficult because of the angle. I'm going to make little holes. Usually I use 2 fingers worth and kind of wiggle it back and forth. That's kind of the perfect size for these little cells. You don't want to plant them too deep. Lettuces don't want to go deep, only tomatoes and potatoes. So keep that in mind. We're going to alternate for some fun. So we're going to do red sales and the romaine in alternating fashions. We're going to put a little marigold at the end over here. We do marigolds because marigolds are actually a natural pest repellent. So aphids don't like the smell of them. Other chewing insects don't like the smell of them. So these guys here. And then we're just going to continue. I like things symmetrical, so I'm going to put another romaine over at this end. Okay. And then another red sails. So you kind of get the gist. We're giving each plant about 8 inches or so of space. These are lettuces that you would harvest leaves at a time, not exactly heads. You could harvest the whole romaine as a head, that's fine. So as you're harvesting, you're going to kind of keep that space open more. Now, when it comes to the Ollas, when you first finish planting this and you go to water it, you want to water the whole thing really, really well, and you want to fill the Olla, okay? You want to make sure the lid stays on because little bugs, snails and slugs and all those fun things will want to go in there, and they're not fun to clean out, speaking from experience. So once you've done that, check it the next few days just to make sure that it's nice and full, because that first watering, even though you've watered the soil, is going to kind of start pulling that moisture. It's really interesting. Once you start using these, you will go out to your veggie bed and you will look at the top of the soil and it will look dry. So don't be fooled by that. Scratch the soil a little bit. Just like a quarter of an inch down, it's wet. It's very, very surprising. So this is a smaller Olla, which we would use for this. This guy is the big Olla. The big Olla, when we had a square foot garden here at the nursery, what we did was we put one Olla in a 4x4 bed. Okay, so it'll cover quite a bit of space. So the other thing I did at my house, because I'm trying to make my life easier, is I actually connected the irrigation to this. So what you would want to do is get a masonry bit, slowly drill a hole in the middle. The trick with doing drip irrigation in a vessel like this is what will happen if the drip emitter is all the way down, it will actually siphon out the water when the system shuts off, because it's the point of it's a higher point, and plus it just sucks it out. It's kind of natural progression. So what you do is I used an elbow, and then a little, like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch piece of the soft tubing, and a 2-gallon emitter. And what that 2-gallon emitter ended up sitting right at the top here. So what happens is this fills up. Once it shuts off, it may suck out a little, like 1 inch or so of water, but it won't empty the vessel out. So that's a great option. The other thing I wanted to point out, just to kind of show you, is this is a bucket of broccoli. So about, I'm not sure if you can see the Olla, about 4, not even 4, maybe like 3 at the most weeks ago, we planted little baby broccolis, and we've just been, this is a total overkill size for this, but I was trying to show customers how to use it. And we just keep filling this each time it starts to get low. And these guys look incredible. The only problem we've had so far is we've had some chewing from snails and slugs, and so we put some bait down. That is the other thing. What I did the other day when I finished planting my veggies in my beds is I put down snail and slug bait, the Sluggo Plus. I can't tell you how many customers come in 2 days later after buying all their veggies and say they have to repurchase them because they didn't put bait out. These little guys, you guys all seem to think that they only come out during the day. They come out when you're sleeping. So In the middle of the night, they're out there munching things down, and they can do a lot of damage really quickly, especially on a small sprout. So that is Oyo 101. Just an FYI, price-wise, the large Oyas are 50 and the smaller ones are 29. We got these in before tariffs, so if you want them at these prices, I would grab them because I don't know what they're going to be like on the next go-round. I think that's it for today. Hopefully you are staying out of the wind. And if you're out in the wind, hopefully you're only watering plants because, boy, they could really use it today. Have a great one, and we'll see you at the nursery.